Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm your host Chris Davis, and today we are going to do a Metroid Dread review. So yes, Metroid Dread. So this game was originally planned for the Nintendo DS, I think sometime in 2005, but was canceled due to technical limitations, but was released on the Nintendo Switch of October of 2021. So this is supposed to be a sequel to Metroid Fusion. So the story starts out with Samus going to planet ZDR because the X parasite thought to be extinct was seen on live video, and the only one immune to it, she has to go investigate to see if it's actually there or not, and if it is, destroy it. So when you go to planet ZDR, you automatically fight this Chozo warrior, and like all typical Metroid games, you lose all your abilities. So when you do, you wake up and your really main objective is to get back up to the planet's surface. And while you're going up the planet's surface, you face all kinds of alien enemies, and you have to fight tough bosses. And believe me, the bosses in these games are tough. Even some mini bosses are tough. But the really difficult enemies in this task is the E.M.M.Is. The E.M.M.Is are so hard. When you have to make your way back up to the planet, you're running to all these different E.M.M.Is, these robots. And what makes them so hard is that you can't destroy them. You can't destroy them with any of your conventional weapons. Even when you get your upgrades, you still can't hurt them. The only two options you have is when you have the Phantom Cloak, you turn that on if you're near them. Or when you make your way to the central unit, defeat that boss, and then you temporarily get an Omega Cannon that will let you defeat them. But even then, you still have to be skilled enough to make sure you have enough time to blow off the mask. And then when you blow off the mask, charge up your Mega Cannon, and then destroy the E.M.M.I. So every E.M.M.I you destroy is going to give you some upgrade or power up. So the E.M.M.Is, they're very tough. Like I said, your conventional weapons don't work on them. If they catch you, pretty much you're dead. There's this small window of opportunity you can take to where you can counter them and then temporarily stun them. But guys, you can't rely on that. I've tried many times to time that small window to counter. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. You really don't want to rely on that. What you really want to rely on is staying away from the E.M.M.I. You keep away from them, and if you run into one, the security, the exits will be closed temporarily, and you just gonna have to move around and dodge them until you lose them for a while, until they think somehow you're gone, or they get disinterested in you. But the E.M.M.Is, if you don't lose them, they are relentless. They will go after you. And say they're the hardest part in the game, because even though the bosses are tough, your charge beam and your missiles can work on them. E.M.M.Is, they don't. Now the bosses in these games, they're true bosses. They remind me of the tough bosses of when I was a kid playing video games. They are really hard, and trust me, Metroid Dread, you are going to die a lot. I guess tips that can really help you get through this game. When you're going through this game, be as thorough as you can. When I say be thorough, this game won't hold your hand. When I say you have to be very thorough, some areas you can only get to if you blow up a wall, or if you blow up the floor. There's no really way of you knowing that unless you think, okay, maybe if I shoot a beam at this wall, maybe something will come out. Sometimes you don't think that would work, but sometimes When you see a dead end, that's all you have to do in order to go forward is blast it. The wall or the floor or the ceiling. You have to be very thorough because it's easy for you to miss something. Collect as many energy tanks, as many missile tanks as you can. Like, you don't have to find them all, but at least when you're going through an area, be thorough and make sure you've gotten as many of the tanks as you possibly could. Some you're not going to be able to get until you get an upgrade that will let you go further in the area. That's fine. When you play this game through the natural story, you'll backtrack through some of the areas naturally. And so when you go back to that area, you can get that tank that you missed or that missile tank that you couldn't get before because you have an upgraded weapon that'll let you access that area. So be very thorough. Like I said, you don't have to find all the missile tanks, all the energy tanks. Just be thorough as you go along. And when you go back to that area, if you couldn't get that missile tank or that certain energy tank the first time, take time and get it. Trust me, it will definitely help you when you're fighting these bosses because they are hard. A really big thing that you want to do in Metroid Dread 2 is countering. Countering will help you immensely when you're fighting the boss battles and when you're fighting the mini boss battles, especially those Chozo warriors. Like, countering will help you a lot. Samus is more agile, more physical in this game, so looking for those windows when to counter is key. It's not bad like the E.M.M.Is. Like, there's really no chance of you countering. If you do counter the E.M.M.Is, it's just luck. You can't replicate it repeatedly. But with the other enemies, the bosses, you see that yellow indicator come up, you can counter them and you can like stun them to get more health, energy, and missile tanks. So that's what you want to do. Samus can counter now, and like make sure you do that. You even do that on even the smaller enemies. So that counter button is very extremely important. You nearly do it for most of your boss battles, most of them, at least 90% of them. You are going to be using that counter, and it's very important because if you land it, you can do a lot of damage to the bosses. Really cool things that I liked in Metroid Dread. My favorite thing was like the flash shift that you could do, and the supercharge where she runs real fast, and that's difficult to do, but when you pull it off, it's really good. Like, if you just have a straight line, you can charge it up and you just go right through enemies. It's so good. My favorite suit in this game is definitely the gravity suit, because I was tired of being weighed down by water, and just being able to move freely in the water like normal instead of being held down by it was amazing. So if you haven't played Metroid Dread, I definitely think you should pick it up and play it. It can get intense at times, especially with those E.M.M.Is, but it's a really great game to play. When it first came out, I had my doubts because of the 2D, and I was wondering, hey, where's my Metroid Prime? Where's Metroid Prime 4? But definitely Metroid Dread is worth picking up, and you'll have a lot of fun playing it. So that's all we have for today. If you liked what I had to share, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with all your friends, and all of you have a great day.